bad news was he'd have the worst starting position. There's Ross Peterson, always among the favorites. Peterson aboard bike number 1.
Bill Wallen from Barrie, Ontario, number 3 ranked in Canadian motocross a year ago. He'll be looking for a top 10 finish.
Number 75, the defending champion, Doug Dubach from California.
And number 78, the 19-year-old from Michigan, Brian Swink, dominated 125 Supercross racing. He goes on a 250.
Number 79 is Tom Carson out of Hopedale, Ohio, aboard a Suzuki.
And Larry Ward, the winner here at Skydome a couple of years ago on the Suzuki 250.
Doug Henry, winner of one of the qualifiers, rides bike number 169.
And Mike Jones, number 351, won his qualifier. He had problems here a year ago. He'll be looking for a top finish this year.
And we're just moments away from the start. Molson Export Supercross returns with the main event in just a moment. Welcome back to the Skydome in Toronto. We are ready for the final of the Molson Export Supercross 92. As you look at the starting grid, you have to figure Doug Dubach, the defending champion, is going to be very tough.
A lot of former winners in that group, including Ross Peterson, Carl Viancourt on a Kawasaki this year, Brian Swink, David Hand, fine Ohio rider, Chris Ship-Clark, and Steve Friesen from British Columbia. Just some of the top riders getting set to go in this 15-lap event. The riders are pretty much set. The mechanics now have cleared the starting area. Now it's all down to these riders and their machines as they rev them up behind that rat trap starting gate. The riders go charging from behind the gate into turn 1. They're banging handlebars. We've got a couple of riders down. And another rider down at the top of that first jump. Motorcycles all over the racetrack. Peterson has got through there, but a big pileup. I believe Larry Ward, number 80, and Carl Viancourt, 2 of the top riders involved in that big pileup going into turn 1. But here's your leader, number 52, David Hand, the Ohio rider on the Honda leads. And then I believe it's 22, a great start for Chris Ship-Clark, the Stittsville, Ontario rider, getting up into the second place position.
25 riders in this field for the final, but at least half of them had to be left at the start.
Well, we knew the start was going to be all important. It's very narrow down there in turn 1, and then you've got that jump right after turn 1 where several riders fell, and there was a big pileup. That has pretty much been cleared up. Some of the top riders trying to carve their way up through the field, but for the moment, 52, David Hand has his moment of glory in front of this crowd of some 45,000 here at Skydome. Many of them on their feet for this 15-lap Molson Export Supercross final. There's David Hand, your leader. 22, Chris Ship-Clark running in the second place position. Then it's 72 in third, and that is the British Columbia rider Steve Friesen.
Another look at the start, and it's amazing how anyone made it out of this. I mean, 3 or 4 bikers piled up at the start, and then behind them, they clogged up on that first jump. Not the best place in the world to have to jump like that. And obviously a lot of hopes dashed right off the beginning.
There's 22, Ship-Clark. He is coming under pressure now as some of the other riders move up. That is the 33 machine taking over that second place position. And a great run here for Keith Johnson aboard the KTM, the Pembroke, Massachusetts rider, number 33, Keith Johnson, up into the second place position. That is the lone non-Japanese 250cc Supercross bike in the field. But David Hand, number 52, your race leader on the Honda. Then it is 33, Keith Johnson, currently ranked 18th in the American Supercross Series aboard that KTM. He has come up into the second place position. But this is an incredible run by David Hand. The question now, can any of the other top riders chase down David Hand on that Honda CR250?
One of them, Larry Ward, number 80, was involved in that tangle at the start. He's going to have a tough time getting back in this race.
Well, Hand appears to be being reeled in here in a hurry by Johnson on that number 33 KTM machine. And then right behind is Doug Dubach, number 75. Dubach has just charged up into that third place position. So Ship-Clark, 22, and 72, Steve Friesen, continue to fall further back as some of the other top riders have got into the rhythm. And problems for Bill Wallen on the number 3 machine. There's another rider off the racetrack. That's Carl Viancourt, number 5. So a tough break for a couple of our top Canadian riders. Viancourt going again on the Kawasaki, but he tangled with Bill Wallen.
Now the battle's for second place. Keith Johnson, 33, trying to hold off 75, Dougie Dubach.
Both of these riders have battled in the American Supercross Series and are having a go at each other for second place. and they are both closing on David Hand, number 52. Here comes Dubach and Johnson. They go 3 wide over the jump for the lead, and Dubach up to the outside.
What a move!
Dubach takes the lead just as they dive under into the tunnel. It is 75, Doug Dubach, last year's winner here in Toronto. Out in front, 33, Keith Johnson on the KTM in second, and then back in third, David Hand on that Honda 250. So it's Yamaha, KTM, and Honda running 1, 2, 3 as the front-running 3 riders work their way over these jumps. But Dubach wasting no time in carving his way through traffic to grab the lead.
Doug Dubach, last year's winner, the defending champion, hanging on to the lead now, and we're about 6 laps in. Already you can see how badly this course is being torn up. Let's check the standings board as we see Larry Ward has recovered from that disaster at the start and moved up into 4th position. Doug Dubach continues to lead, and even though they've groomed the track, you can see how deep those ruts have gotten. They're dangerous, and it's a problem that was addressed earlier by Pat and course designer Lino Zecca.
The actual dirt appears to be very, very tacky, almost like plasticine out there. The cars and the motorcycles are getting tremendous traction, but it also seems to be causing a lot of deep ruts out there.
Yeah, that's correct. We always thought that there wasn't ever a phrase that you had too much traction. Well, this track definitely corrects that statement there. There's so much traction off the line, you can't get the tires to brake. And then in the corners, you get so much traction that you form the ruts so quickly that we go down to the concrete through about 16 inches of dirt in a matter of a moto and a half.
But all the riders face the same danger. Back with the conclusion of the Supercross in just a moment. Welcome back, 7 laps in. Doug Dubach continues to lead over Keith Johnson. Then David Hand, Larry Ward has moved up to 4th, and Jim Hawley.
Don, Larry Ward may be the fastest man on the racetrack right now because he's catching this front-running pair of Doug Dubach, 75, and Keith Johnson, the Massachusetts rider, on the KTM. Those 2 riders continue to run 1st and 2nd, but Ward is on the charge. In fact, right now he's closing on the 3rd place man, David Hand, as they come up into these series of jumps. There goes Larry Ward up to the outside, and Ward will put his Suzuki around into the 3rd place position. David Hand, our early leader, number 52, dropping back further now. He's running in the 4th place position on the Honda, but look at the air. Larry Ward gets off of that jump, and he is closing on both Doug Dubach and Keith Johnson on the KTM. So Ward, who was involved in that tangle in turn 1, got back on the motorcycle and has been just riding the wheels off this Suzuki since. He's up into the 3rd place position. Larry Ward currently ranked 7th in the AMA Supercross standings, going through this right-hand switchback.
He's got Johnson in his sights now.
There's Johnson just a few bike lengths ahead on that KTM, but Ward is reeling him in a hurry through that little left-hand 90-degree turn into the tunnel. They'll be coming up into the rockers. This is where Ward has been very, very aggressive. There's the leader, Dubach. Now you see the battle for second.
Johnson.
Johnson has crashed as he just landed on that rocker jump incorrectly. Here is Johnson. He just plants the motorcycle right at the top of the jump, goes over the handlebars, crashes down hard. Larry Ward up into the 2nd place spot now. There's your leader, Doug Dubach. He's in traffic, closing now on some of the slower traffic. He'll put number 4, Jeff Surwall, a lap down here in a moment. And there's the man trying to chase him down, Larry Ward. So the 1991 winner here at Skydome being pursued by Larry Ward, who won this event in 1990. The 2 American riders, it has become quickly a 2-rider race. Ward trying to chase down Doug Dubach as he carves his way around some of the slower riders. That is Brad Lockhart, the 18-year-old rider from Burlington, Ontario, being lapped by Larry Ward.
Running into slower traffic, so obviously Dubach has lapped the field, and now Larry Ward trying desperately to catch up. No telling how big a lead he'd have if he had started cleanly.
Ward continues to carve his way to the front. He works his way around some of the slower traffic. There is Doug Dubach, and Larry Ward is right there, just about 4 or 5 bike lengths separating the front-running Yamaha of Doug Dubach and Larry Ward. There's Ross Peterson on the number 1 machine. Peterson also involved in that first turn tangle. Ross currently running back in about 8th place on the Suzuki Canada machine. Doug Dubach, 75, still your race leader. Again, works his way up onto some of the slower traffic as he is about to lap the number 6 machine of Chris Lemon, the Hamilton rider. about to go a lap down. There is Ward, number 80, still just a few bike lengths back off the rear tire of Doug Dubach. And both of these riders just going 15, 20 feet off the jumps. There's Dubach. You can see the classic riding style shifting his weight from the front to the back of the motorcycle. About 70% of the time he's up on the pegs, and Ward is right there and charging. And they're just carving left and right as they work their way around some of the slower traffic. But it's Doug Dubach, 75-year leader. Here comes Larry Ward on the inside. Ward could not get by. He tried to make the pass going in, but Dubach shut the door.
Larry's a much bigger, stronger guy, probably outweighs Doug Dubach by 10, 20 pounds, and he's also a few inches taller. Does that give him a big advantage?
Well, the advantage for Ward, of course, he has a little bit more leverage on the motorcycle, but top Supercross riders come in all shapes and sizes, and we're looking at Doug Dubach and Larry Ward, two riders at the opposite end of the spectrum. Dubach is not all that big, but you can see he really can handle that motorcycle. Both of these riders in tremendous rhythm. They're not only racing against each other for the lead, but they're also attacking what is a very difficult racetrack that's getting more carved up, and of course really working the suspension with some 12 to 13 inches of suspension travel on these 250cc Supercross machines. But this one has come a battle between the two American riders. It's Yamaha against Suzuki for the honors here at Skydome.
They've battled before, and there's no question Dubach has to know that it's Larry Ward on his tail.
Well, this is the rubber match. Dubach, of course, won last year. Ward won in 1990. Both of these riders looking for their second big win here in Toronto. Dubach holding off Larry Ward, but again, it's just a couple of bike lengths. Conditioning, of course, will become a factor in the latter stages of this one. Of course, as we've mentioned, the racetrack will continue to get more and more carved up. We saw some of the very, very deep ruts. And of course, the problem, if you land incorrectly off one of these jumps, if you stick that front wheel in, you can get thrown off these motorcycles very, very easily. There's Ward to the outside of Dubach, looking for the lead, but he won't get it. Incredible action.
Doug Dubach turning back challenge after challenge, holding on to a slim lead over Larry Ward.
Ward is just probing, trying to find a spot on the racetrack where he can get around cleanly. Here they come, down into this right-hand switchback, and again, Ward looking for the pass on the inside. He'll pull almost side by side, going up over that sky jump. And again, they're having to pick their way around the slower riders as they continue to lap them. There's number 72, the Langley, British Columbia rider, Steve Friesen, who ran up as high as second. He has now been lapped by both Doug Dubach and Larry Ward.
Dubach and Ward fighting it out, and there's no question now it's down to one mistake. Whoever doesn't make it is going to win this race.
They have just put a lap on yet another rider, and again, they're really turning it on here. Dubach by a couple of bike lengths. Ward going right after him. Coming up to another one of the big air jumps. The motorcycle's flying 12, 15 feet in the air off of those jumps, but it's Dubach, 75, still your leader. Larry Ward, number 80, right on his rear tire. There you can see the tremendous ruts in that tabletop switchback. And the riders are having to use all of their experience to try to stay up on these machines. Both a test of the equipment and the rider's skill, ability, and endurance. There's Ward. He had the lead for just a moment, but Dubach takes it right back, up over this double jump, through the left-hander and back into the tunnel.
Just over a lap to go as Larry Ward and Doug Dubach play cat and mouse. Dubach in the driver's seat, hanging on to the lead, but it's very slim.
Ward got a little bit wide in that turn, lost a little bit of time. Oh, and Ward has crashed going into turn one. Larry Ward has crashed in turn one. Dubach is all by himself now. Larry Ward appeared to just tuck that front end under going into corner one. He's back up on the machine. The blue and white last lap flag is out.
Have another look. Larry Ward goes down low and just loses control going into that one berm. And there's the reason. He's down to the concrete floor.
Incredible deep rut in turn one. Larry Ward just planted that front wheel, just bottomed out the suspension, and down he went. He's back up. He holds on to that second place position, but I don't think he's going to be able to catch Doug Dubach. Doug Dubach, who last year only made the decision to ride in Toronto a week before the event, led start to finish. It looks like he's trying to pull off pretty much the same, but it's been a whole lot tougher here in 1992. It may have been an incredible last lap between these two top Americans, but right now, Dubach just trying to keep it up on two wheels, run the last half a lap or so to take the checkered flag. Larry Ward in second, Mike Jones, 351, running back in the third place position at the moment.
Larry Ward trying desperately to mount one last challenge, hoping some kind of misfortune might befall Doug Dubach, but it ain't gonna happen. Doug Dubach has too much experience.
Here's Doug Dubach waving to the crowd off the trailer jump out of the final corner. The checkered flag at the top of the jump. And California's Doug Dubach on the Yamaha has won it. There's Larry Ward. He will finish in second.
Just a tremendous wheel-to-wheel battle between Doug Dubach and Larry Ward. Trouble at the start, trouble at the finish. Otherwise, who knows what might have happened. Ross Peterson, the leading Canadian hope, not in the top three, but finished in 8th place as Doug Dubach defeats Larry Ward. Michael Jones places third. And we'll talk to Doug Dubach and the man he defeated when we return. Molson Export Supercross, brought to you by Molson Export. Nothing halfway about it. X says it all. And now with a presentation, the Vice President of Sales for Molson Ontario Breweries, Pat LaFord.
Jimmy, on behalf of a lot of thirsty Molson Export drinkers out there, and Doug Dubach dying to have one himself, Doug, congratulations from your friends at Molson Export. Great race, great entertainment for all of us. Thank you very much.
No question it was a great race, and just too bad it was settled really by an external force, that open patch of concrete on the second last lap. Larry, great race, very close at the finish. What was the key, obviously, when you went down with the lap and a half to go?
Yeah, I went down to start and I just said there's 15 laps. I knew it would take a long time, especially with all the ruts on the track. And I saw that Doug wasn't out front, which was a good sign for me. And so I just rode the best I could. It was hard. A lot of the Canadian riders are real fast, and they're fast at the beginning, and it's hard to get by them. But I knew that they'd get tired, and I just rode the best I could. Now, when I got up behind Doug, I took my time because Doug and I are good friends and good competitors, and I just wanted to take my time and hope that he would make a mistake and get around him. And I did after finish that jump. I got up alongside him a couple times, but he just hung on till the end, and there was some asphalt showing, and I went down. So Doug rode a great race.
No question he made you work for it, Doug, and they say it's tough to repeat. Was this one tougher than last year?
Well, yeah, it was certainly tougher than last year. You know, last year I got out front, kind of ran away, and just had an easy time of it. This time, you know, I was about 10th on the start, and I worked my way up. By the time I got in the lead, I could see Larry coming, and I knew it was going to be a fight to the end. You know, I was maybe a little too cautious on the beginning laps because I knew he had gone down, but, you know, it tightened up there at the end, and I think the fans got a great show.
No question, if he was any closer, he'd have been in the saddle with you. When did you know he went down, and was there anything that it kind of crossed your mind at that point? Now just kind of coast home, don't blow it.
Well, yeah, about halfway through that last lap, I just kept racing. I didn't know if he went down or what happened. And then I got to a point where I could turn and see the track that I just came from, and I didn't see him there, so I took it easy and just made sure that I didn't fall in one of those deep ruts on the last lap.
Can you make it 3 in a row?
I sure hope so.
Doug, congratulations. Great race.
Thank you.
Great show, guys. Doug Dubach of Costa Mesa, California, ahead of Larry Ward from Society Hill, South Carolina, and Michael Jones of Export, Pennsylvania, as Dubach takes the checkered flag for a second year in a row and leads an American sweep.